My beloved child, you did not stumble upon this by accident. Heaven has watched your suffering, and today I say, enough is enough. You have carried pain longer than you were meant to, and now I am stepping in myself. Do not turn away. This message was sent from above just for you. My child, I have counted every tear you cried in silence, and today I declare before heaven and earth that your season of suffering ends now. You wondered how much longer you could endure, but listen closely, for I am intervening right now, and everything is about to change. You were not forgotten, overlooked, or delayed by chance. I allowed the waiting, but today I say that I am moving on your behalf. I speak to you as one who knows you completely, as one who formed you before your first breath and remained with you through every unseen battle. I saw the moments when your strength failed and your heart felt too heavy to lift again. I heard the prayers you whispered when words felt unsafe to say aloud, and I watched you stand when everything in you wanted to fall. You questioned your worth, your future, and sometimes even my nearness, yet you kept going, even if it was only one breath at a time. That perseverance did not go unnoticed. I was closer than you realized, closer than your fear, closer than your doubt, holding you when you thought you were holding yourself together alone. There were nights when silence pressed against your chest and you wondered why answers did not come. You searched for meaning in the delay and tried to make sense of pain that felt unfair and unending. I want you to know this clearly: your suffering was never a punishment, and your tears were never a weakness. They were seeds. I allowed the pressure not to break you but to shape you, not to destroy you but to prepare you for what could not be trusted to a fragile heart. Still, hear me now, for this is important. Preparation has reached its limit. Refining has done its work. I will not allow the weight to remain now that the purpose has been fulfilled. I am stepping into what has felt stuck. I am touching what has resisted change. I am loosening what has held you back despite your effort and your faith. You may not see it yet with your eyes, but movement has begun. What was blocked is opening. What was delayed is aligning. What felt impossible is yielding to my authority. Do not underestimate what happens when I decide that the time has come. When I move, no force can reverse it, and no voice can silence it. I do not act halfway, and I do not abandon what I begin. I know you learned how to survive by staying quiet, by lowering expectations, by telling yourself not to hope too much. You did that to protect your heart, and I understand. But I am asking you now to lift your eyes again. Not because everything will be perfect, but because you no longer have to carry this alone. The burden you have been dragging is not meant for the next season. Lay it down. Release the fear that says it will always be this way. Let go of the lie that says you are behind or unworthy of rest. I am restoring what was taken from you piece by piece, breath by breath, moment by moment. You have felt overlooked by people and misunderstood by circumstances, but you have never been overlooked by heaven. I marked you in the waiting. I guarded you in the confusion. I protected you from outcomes you could not see and from harm that never reached you because I stood in the way. There were doors that did not open because they would have led you into deeper pain, and there were paths that ended abruptly because I was redirecting you toward life. Trust me when I tell you that nothing was wasted. Even the detours served you, even the losses taught you, even the silence shaped your strength. Now I speak peace into the places that learn to expect disappointment. I speak healing into memories that still ache when you least expect it. I speak clarity where confusion lingered and hope where weariness tried to settle. You do not have to force faith, you only have to stay open. Let me do what you could not do by effort or endurance. Let me carry what you have been carrying too long. I am not asking you to pretend you are fine. I am inviting you to be honest and to trust that my presence is enough. Be careful not to dismiss this moment as just another message. I am reaching you now because your heart is ready in a way it was not before. You have been softened by struggle and strengthened by survival, and that combination matters. Do not rush past this with distraction or doubt. Stay present. Stay open. The shift you have prayed for does not always arrive with noise. Sometimes it comes quietly, like a deep breath after holding it too long, like light returning before you notice the dark has lifted. Type Amen. Jesus is the answer to all my needs if He holds every solution in your life. I also ask you to guard what I am doing within you. Not everyone will understand the changes you are about to experience, and not everyone needs to hear the details of what I am unfolding. Protect your peace. Stay close to me. Listen more than you speak. Let the work finish its course. When the fruit appears, it will speak for itself. You do not need to prove anything to anyone. My affirmation is enough, and my timing is precise. There may still be moments when fear tries to rise and remind you of past disappointments. When that happens, come back to this truth. I am with you now, not watching from a distance, not waiting for you to be stronger, but present and active. I am guiding your steps even when you cannot see the full path. Trust the next step. Obedience in small things will open doors you thought were closed forever. I am renewing your strength in ways that go deeper than rest. I am restoring your joy in ways that do not depend on circumstances. I am teaching your heart to feel safe again, to believe again, to receive again. What is ahead will not look like what is behind. You are not returning to the same cycles. You are stepping into something new, something steadier, something rooted in peace rather than survival. So breathe, my child. Let your shoulders relax. Let your heart settle. You do not have to fight this moment or question it into doubt. Receive it. I am here. I have always been here. And now, as you move forward, know this with certainty. Heaven sent this message just for you, and I will walk with you into everything that comes next. My child, stop for a moment. Yes, you. I am speaking to you now, not to the many, not to the crowd, not to those who will pass this by without listening. I have interrupted your routine, your scrolling, your thoughts, your plans, because this moment was arranged by heaven long before your day began. Nothing about this is accidental. You did not arrive here by chance, curiosity, or coincidence. I drew you here. I called you here. I placed this directly in your path because your spirit is ready to hear what your heart has been crying out for, even when your lips could not form the words. Do not rush past this. Do not treat this as ordinary. When I interrupt, it is because something eternal is pressing into time, and I need your attention now. I know the habit to move on, to doubt, to tell yourself this is not really for you. I know how quickly your mind tries to reason its way out of receiving what I am offering. But listen carefully, because if you leave now, you will feel it later. You will sense that something meant for you slipped past because you did not stay. This message is not for everyone who hears it, but it is for you. I am speaking directly to your life, your season, your hidden questions, and your unspoken pain. Heaven's attention is fixed on you in this moment, and that alone should tell you how important this is. I am not distant as I speak. I am close, nearer than your breath, aware of the tension in your chest, the heaviness in your thoughts, the weariness you carry even when you smile. I see the way you keep going out of responsibility rather than strength. I see how you learn to move forward without expecting relief, because disappointment taught you to guard your hope. But today I interrupt that pattern. Today I interrupt the cycle of endurance without renewal. I am not asking for a few seconds of your attention. I am asking you to stay, because what I am about to speak will settle something deep within you that has been restless for far too long. You may wonder why this feels different, why something inside you stirred when you heard these words. It is because my spirit is touching the place in you that has been waiting for reassurance, direction, and truth. I know the doubts that whisper, telling you that this cannot really be personal, that I would not pause heaven for you. But those doubts are not from me. I pause for my children. I speak when it matters. I intervene when silence has done its work. And silence has done its work in you. You have learned patience, endurance, and humility. Now it is time to learn trust at a deeper level. Trust that allows you to receive instead of only survive. Do not underestimate the urgency of this moment. I am not speaking later, and I am not postponing what I have to say. This is now. There are shifts that require awareness, and there are instructions that must be received before circumstances change. I know how easy it is to tell yourself you will come back to this, that you will listen another time when you are less distracted or more prepared. But hear me clearly. Delaying this moment will not bring clarity. It will only extend confusion. When I speak with urgency, it is because the timing matters, and you are standing at a point where attentiveness will protect you from regret. Please support our channel. Our work is to bring happiness in your life and devotion to God. And if you want, you can donate to us via Super Thanks to show your support. I see how much you have carried without explanation. I see how often you told yourself to be strong because you did not feel permitted to be honest about how tired you are. You learn to adapt, to adjust, to endure, but endurance was never meant to be your permanent state. I am interrupting because I want you to know that what you are feeling is not weakness. It is a signal that you are ready for something new, something lighter, something aligned with what I intended for you from the beginning. This interruption is an invitation to step out of automatic motion and into awareness of what I am doing right now. I am aware that part of you is cautious. You have been disappointed before. You have hoped before. You have listened before. And when things did not change immediately, you learned to protect yourself by lowering expectation. I am not offended by that. I understand it. But I am asking you to let me speak past your defenses, past your logic, past your learned skepticism. This is not about convincing you emotionally. This is about aligning you spiritually. Your spirit recognizes my voice even when your mind hesitates, and that recognition is why you are still here listening. Heaven is not distracted. Heaven is not rushed. Heaven is not confused about you. I have seen every step you took that no one applauded. I have seen the restraint you showed when you could have reacted. I have seen the faith you held quietly when doubt surrounded you. All of that matters. All of that brought you to this moment. This is not a generic pause. This is a targeted interruption because something in your life is about to require clarity, and clarity comes when you listen, not when you rush. If you feel a pull to stay, that is not curiosity, that is calling. If you feel resistance, that is fear of change, not discernment. Learn to tell the difference. Discernment brings peace even when it challenges you. Fear brings excuses and urgency to escape. I am asking you to choose discernment now. Stay present. Stay open. Let this moment unfold without trying to control it or analyze it away. I am not overwhelming you. I am steadying you. You do not need to prove that you deserve this moment. You do not need to qualify yourself. You are here because I wanted you here. That is enough. I speak to you as my child, not as a project to be fixed or a problem to be solved. I speak with authority because I know what is ahead, and I speak with tenderness because I know what you have been through. Those two things can exist together, and they do in me. I am interrupting because I want your attention before other voices crowd in again. Before distractions pull you back into noise. Before doubt convinces you that this was nothing. This is something. This is a beginning. Not loud, not dramatic, but deliberate. The kind of beginning that changes direction quietly and then unfolds with purpose. You will look back on this moment and realize it mattered more than you understood at the time. So stay with me. Let your mind slow down. Let your heart soften. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where you need to be to hear this. Heaven is not rushing you, but heaven is watching. And right now, all of heaven's attention is focused on you, listening with you, witnessing this moment of connection. Do not leave. Do not doubt it away. Receive what is happening here, because this interruption was sent for you, and it is the doorway to everything that comes next. My beloved child, I see you. Not the version of you that smiles when asked how you are, not the one that keeps going because stopping feels impossible, but the real you beneath all of that. I see the exhaustion that has settled into your bones, the kind that sleep does not fix and rest does not reach. I see how tired you are in ways you have never fully explained to anyone, because words feel too small to carry the weight of what you have been enduring. You wake up already weary, and you lie down still carrying the day with you. Your mind refusing to be quiet even when your body begs for relief. I know the nights when sleep would not come. The hours you stared into the darkness while your thoughts replayed conversations, regrets, fears, and unanswered questions. I know how your mind raced with what ifs and why nots, how you tried to pray but felt too drained to form sentences, so you simply lay there, hoping I could understand what you could not say. I did understand. Every sigh, every tear that slid silently into your pillow, every moment you felt alone with your thoughts, I was there with you. You were never abandoned in those hours, even when it felt like no one else knew you were struggling to make it through the night. I see the emotional weight you have carried, the disappointment layered on top of disappointment, the hope that rose only to be bruised again. You trusted, and it hurt. You believed, and you were let down. You opened your heart, and someone closed theirs. Betrayal did not always come loudly. Sometimes it came quietly, through broken promises, changed behavior, or absence where there once was care. You asked yourself what you did wrong, why things changed, why loyalty seemed to cost you more than it cost others. I heard those questions even when you asked them only in your thoughts. I know the loneliness that crept in, even when people were around you. The feeling of being unseen, misunderstood, were replaceable. You sat among others yet felt separate, carrying things you could not explain without feeling like a burden. You learned to hold back, to say I'm fine because it felt easier than explaining the truth. But I know how heavy that silence became. I know how often you wished someone would notice without you having to ask, would care without you having to justify your pain. I noticed it. I cared. I never looked away. I see the spiritual exhaustion too, the kind that comes when prayers feel unanswered and faith feels like effort instead of refuge. You kept showing up even when you felt empty. You kept believing even when doubt whispered that it was pointless. You questioned whether I was listening, whether you were doing something wrong, whether your prayers mattered at all. You felt guilty for questioning, yet you could not stop the questions from forming. Hear me now. I was not offended by your honesty. I was never distant from your struggle. Faith that wrestles is not weak faith. It is faith that refuses to give up. I know how it felt to keep praying for the same things, day after day, months after month, sometimes year after year, with no visible change. You waited. You hoped. You trusted. And when the answers did not come, you wondered if silence was the answer. You wondered if you were being ignored, forgotten, or overlooked. You wondered if your pain was too small to matter or too complicated to fix. My child, I was never indifferent. I was never unmoved. Silence was not absence, and delay was not rejection. I see the physical toll this season has taken on you. The tension in your shoulders, the tightness in your chest, the way your body carries stress even when you try to rest. I see how your energy faded, how simple tasks began to feel heavy, how you pushed through because stopping felt unsafe. You told yourself others had it worse, that you should be grateful, that you should not complain. But pain is not a competition, and exhaustion does not need permission to exist. I never asked you to minimize what you were feeling. I wanted you to bring it to me. Right, amen. My hope is anchored in Christ alone if your faith rests securely in Him. I know about the moments you cried without sound, when tears came suddenly and you wiped them away quickly, hoping no one would notice. I know the times you sat alone and let yourself break just enough to breathe again before pulling yourself back together. I know the prayers you whispered through tears, asking me to help you endure just a little longer because you did not know how much strength you had left. Every one of those prayers reached me. Every one of those tears mattered. I know how deeply you were affected by being strong for others while feeling weak inside. You carried responsibilities that did not allow you to fall apart openly. You supported people while needing support yourself. You listened while longing to be heard. You gave while feeling empty. That kind of strength costs something, and it cost you more than you realized. I saw the moments you wanted to rest but felt you could not, the moments you wanted to speak but felt you should not. I never demanded that silence from you. I never asked you to suffer quietly. I know the confusion that came when things did not make sense. When doors closed without explanation. When plans unraveled. When the future felt uncertain and unstable. You tried to be patient. You tried to trust. But fear crept in anyway, whispering that things would never change, that this heaviness was permanent. You started adjusting your expectations, shrinking your dreams, bracing yourself for disappointment. You did that to survive, but survival is not where your story ends. I want you to hear this deeply. Nothing about your pain surprised me. Nothing about your struggle escaped my attention. You did not imagine the weight you have been carrying. You were not being dramatic. You were not weak. You were enduring more than most could see, and you did it quietly, faithfully, even when your heart was tired. I was there in every unseen moment, in every breath you took when you did not think you could take another. You never had to explain this suffering to me for it to be valid. I already knew. I already understood. I already cared. I am not just aware of what you have been through. I have felt it with you. When you felt abandoned, I was near. When you felt misunderstood, I understood. When you felt empty, I was holding what you could no longer carry. You are not invisible to me. You are not overlooked. You are not forgotten. This chapter of exhaustion, pain, and silent endurance has been fully seen by heaven. Every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer, every moment of betrayal, every tear cried alone had been accounted for. You do not need to prove how hard it was. I know. And because I know, I am speaking now with compassion, authority, and love. You have been seen completely, without saying a word, and I am with you as we move forward from here. My beloved child, I know one of the deepest questions that has lived quietly in your heart. You have asked it in moments of exhaustion, in tears, in confusion, and sometimes in frustration that you felt guilty for having. You asked why. Why this pain? Why this long season? Why the silence when you cried out? Why it seemed as though I allowed you to walk through more than you thought you could bear. I want you to hear me clearly now, without fear, without shame, and without the weight of misunderstanding. What you endured was never punishment. It was never abandonment. It was never a sign that I turned my face away from you or that you failed me in some way. I have never punished you with suffering, and I have never disciplined you by withdrawing my love. I allowed what you walked through because I was doing something deeper than what you could see. Not everything I allow is something I enjoy watching you endure, but everything I allow is held within my purpose. I do not waste pain, and I do not overlook tears. The silence you felt was not absence. It was containment. I was holding you in a process that required stillness, one that could not be rushed or explained without disrupting what was being formed within you. I know how silence can feel like rejection when you are hurting. I know how waiting can feel like being forgotten. But my silence was never indifference. It was intention. There are things I prepare in quiet that cannot be shaped in noise. There are strengths that cannot be built in ease. There are depths of trust that cannot be reached without uncertainty. I was not watching from afar while you struggled. I was closer than ever, working beneath the surface, shaping what you could not yet understand. I was guarding you from paths that would have cost you more than the waiting ever did. I was protecting parts of your heart that would have been damaged had you received answers too early or blessings too soon. You thought the delay meant you were not ready or not worthy. That was never true. The delay existed because what I am preparing you for requires depth, discernment, and resilience that cannot be learned quickly. I was strengthening your inner foundation so that when what is meant for you arrives, it will not crush you or confuse you. I was teaching you how to stand without applause, how to trust without reassurance, how to remain anchored when circumstances shift. These lessons are painful, but they are powerful, and they were never meant to last forever. You wondered why others seemed to move forward while you felt stuck. You questioned why doors opened for them while yours remained closed. You wondered if you had missed something, done something wrong, or waited too long. My child, your path was never meant to look like theirs. Comparison only magnified your pain because it pulled your eyes away from what I was doing uniquely in you. I was not delaying you to deny you. I was positioning you so that when the door opens, you will walk through it with clarity rather than desperation, with peace rather than fear. I know you felt refined by fire, pressed by circumstances, stretched beyond comfort. That is because refinement is not gentle. Growth is not always quiet. Preparation often feels like loss before it feels like gain. I was removing what could not go with you. I was loosening attachments that would have limited you later. I was teaching you discernment through disappointment and wisdom through restraint. None of that was wasted. Even the moments you thought broke you were shaping strength you did not know you had. You asked why I did not rescue you sooner, why I did not intervene before it hurt so much. Hear me with tenderness now. I intervene when the lesson has been learned, when the heart is ready, when the timing aligns not just with desire but with destiny. Had I ended the season earlier, you would have carried unresolved questions, unhealed wounds, and untested faith into the next chapter. I love you too much to rush you forward incomplete. I stayed with you until you were ready to move without being driven by fear or bitterness. I know you questioned whether I was listening because your prayers did not change your circumstances immediately. But prayer is not only about changing what is around you, it is also about strengthening what is within you. While you waited, your spirit was growing stronger, your discernment sharper, your compassion deeper. You became someone who understands pain, who sees others more clearly, who carries humility rather than pride. These are not small things. These are qualities that matter deeply in what comes next. Still, I want you to hear this with certainty. The suffering was allowed, but it was never meant to be permanent. Preparation has a boundary. Refinement has an end. Growth has a season. You have reached the limit of what this process was meant to teach you. You are not meant to stay here. You are not meant to continue carrying this weight. The purpose has been fulfilled, and I am not asking you to endure more to prove your faith. Your endurance has already spoken. You may still carry confusion about specific moments, conversations, losses, or endings that did not make sense. You may not yet see how every piece fits together. That is okay. Understanding does not always come before transition. Sometimes clarity comes as you move forward, not before. Trust me when I tell you that nothing about your journey was random. Even what felt unnecessary served a purpose you will recognize later. Do not allow regret to take root where growth has already occurred. Do not look back and accuse yourself for staying too long or hoping too hard. You did the best you could with what you knew at the time. I was with you in every decision, every hesitation, every moment you chose love over resentment and patience over reaction. I do not measure your journey by speed. I measure it by faithfulness, and you have been faithful even when you were tired. Now I am asking you to release the belief that pain is your teacher forever. The lesson has been learned. The season has changed. I am not calling you into another cycle of endurance. I am calling you into renewal. What comes next will not require you to suffer to grow. It will invite you to live, to receive, to rest, and to walk in what had been prepared for you. Let go of the fear that says if things improve, they will be taken away again. Let go of the habit of bracing for disappointment. That was a survival response, not a prophecy. You are not cursed to repeat this chapter. You are stepping out of it. The suffering you endured has done its work, and it does not get to define your future. I allowed it for a time, but I do not allow it to continue now. I am speaking because the purpose has been fulfilled. I am moving because the preparation is complete. You were never abandoned in the process, and you are not forgotten now. What you walked through mattered, but it no longer has authority over you. This chapter is closing, not because you escaped it, but because you grew through it. And I am with you as we move forward, carrying only what strengthens you and leaving behind what no longer belongs in your life. My beloved child, hear me now with a heart that is open and attentive, because this moment marks a turning point that cannot be reversed. I speak not with uncertainty, not with hesitation, but with authority that comes from heaven itself. I have watched long enough. I have weighed every tear, every prayer, every silent endurance, and now heaven has spoken. The decision has been made. The verdict has been issued. You have suffered enough. This season has reached its appointed end, and it will not continue one moment longer than I allow. This is not a feeling, not an emotional encouragement, not a hopeful thought meant to help you cope. This is a decree. This is a conclusion written by my hand and sealed by my authority. The suffering that shaped you, refined you, and tested you has fulfilled its purpose. It does not get to follow you into what comes next. I am not negotiating with the pain. I am not asking it to lessen. I am commanding it to end. What was permitted for a time is now dismissed by my word. I know how long it has felt. I know how heavy the days became, how endless the nights seemed, how you wondered if there would ever be a clear line between what was and what would be. That line is being drawn now. The season that required you to endure without understanding is closing. The chapter that demanded strength beyond what you thought you had is ending. I am not delaying this declaration. I am not testing your patience again. I am announcing that the time is complete. When heaven speaks, it is not casual. When I decide, it is not temporary. I do not change my mind, and I do not reverse my word. I have seen the cost of this season on your heart, your body, your mind, and your spirit. I have seen how you carried more than you should have had to carry. I have seen how you stayed faithful even when relief did not come quickly. That faithfulness hath been acknowledged. That endurance hath been honored. And now the reward is release. Say amen. I believe he's working behind the scenes even when I cannot see the outcome, and share this video.